Hello and welcome to all you beautiful people. You are watching the very first in a brand new series of Magic Arena videos. If you enjoy, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And now, sit back and relax as we dive deep into a best of one draft analysis.
Alright, test draft number 1. Going hard. Gonna do a rank draft of M20 today. See if we can get out of this bronze standing. No problem, right? Alright, boys. Oh, we got some flashy picks here. Violet's Broker of Blood. Big ol' bomb. 8 mana is a lot to cast, but hey, he can win you the game and he provides you with cards. Pretty fucking awesome. Excuse my language. So, good cards in the pack. Rapid Bite. Rapid Bite I consider a number 1 pick pretty often. Embercat works really well. Has a lot of synergy with probably the best archetype in the format right now, which is something to keep an eye out on. Bone Splinters is pretty cool. There are synergy effects with being able to sacrifice things, which is pretty awesome. 4 mana Active Treason is a pretty incredible payoff. Sentry's pretty good too. Diamond Knight can work. Sailor. Yeah, Sailor's a nice late game mana sink. Right, Sailor highly, Bone Splinters, Rapid Bite. It's probably Vilas. Triple black is a lot. I very rarely actually want to end up in triple black. And I'm thinking that might actually be enough to keep me out of these colors. But who knows? If I'm doing this, I want to ramp. If I'm doing this, I want to be in green. Is that just too late in the game to have an impact? Because it might be. But it's so damn cool. I think for flavor, man, just gotta pick him. Okay, let's make it work. Got our triple black. This guy's kind of cool. Not terrible. There are a lot of kill effects for 1 mana creatures in the format. The Cloudkin Seer is pretty amazing. Definitely a respectable pickup. Being in triple black is already influencing my picks, which is kind of a bad thing. Not a trap you want to fall into. But hey, we have murder. We have the ultimate payoff for being heavily into black that I consider to be at least as good, Twitch flicking it, at least as good as the Cloudkin Seer. So I think we're going to pick that up. Winged Words, very good too. Rapid Bite, very good. These are just great packs so far. No, let's keep it running. I like Troll a lot. Double green to play. It's pretty restrictive. Warlord is very good. Meteor Golem, it's actually really good in the format. Really good in the format. If you can pick up the blue, I believe he's a wizard, the 2-drop, lets you tap for 2 colorless mana. It's pretty awesome. Cast this turn 5. Works out pretty well. Paralysis is very good. It's nice fixing, especially with such a heavy investment in black. Being able to get double black on turn 3 is not a very realistic plan. There aren't many decks that actually want to be this heavily in black, kind of sadly. I'd like to be in black-blue. I think that could work very well. So right now, thinking Golem. Paralysis is good. Barkhide Troll. Man, Great card. Really great card. Beater for the ages, but I'm gonna take that. We're gonna try to make it work. God's Willing is one of the better combat tricks. It doesn't give you damage, unfortunately, but the scry and protection are very powerful. So, not exactly 2 for 1 because you're not going to trade up with it. Champion is excellent. Plenty of opportunities for that. Raise the Alarm tokens I really like, but that's why. Really efficient effect. And can often get a kill with one of those soldiers, which is nice. Fairy, it's a fine card. Flying Fairy. This is a nice mana sink for later in the game. Very slow at 6. And 4 mana to cast. Lower rated card. I'd call this a 2 on a 5-star scale. Might just start referencing that more. If you're curious what it means, you can actually reference limited resources, and I kind of borrow their rating system. This is just a sad card. I never want to play this in a deck, even if I'm that heavy in black. This early in the game, I'm still picking for power. I don't really want to be, yeah, pretty committed, but don't decide in colors this early in drafts. Woodland Champion has a lot of power. A lot of power. I don't know what other tokens I'm going to be pulling though. So 2-drops are really hard to come by. Good 2-drops. We're doing it. We're going blue-black control. Gonna try to pull it off. This is a nice effect. Hardcover. I don't like it all. Lifelink 2-3. I think this is actually better than usual in the format because there are a lot of very low health aggressive decks running around. This is pretty sad, even if it is a good blocker. This stops almost everything on the ground. It's actually pretty nice. Pretty nice if you're trying to just slow the game down as much as possible. Survives a lot of the green aggro decks. It's hard to not pick Cutthroat here. There it is. Pull artifacts, tap him for golems and whatnot. Reduced Ash is the other strong card here. Yeah, Ringleader. Very good constructed card. It's a critical mass of Fortress Crabs. You don't really want a lot of them. Gonna take the Renowned Weaponsmith. Build around the artifacts here. This is a lot of hoops to jump through. Kind of get that working. Very weak color fixing. This is where it gets hard to find something decent. Lavican Brawler is very strong. So I actually like Infuriate a lot too as a 1-mana combat trick. It's hard to save a creature, but it is very efficient to play. Single Negate I don't mind actually having in decks. Can definitely be pretty strong. But Lavican Brawler is the hard pick here, so. And I don't think any of these are gonna hurt me in the late game by passing on them. I'm just gonna take it. Okay. The chumper that keeps on chumping. I mean, he's good to have to complement Bone Splitters, but it's not a big enough reason to pick him. 3-mana 3/2s are not terrible. This is definitely the most powerful card. It's between these two. Bone Splitters is an efficient kill spell, but you really need some weak guys to cast with it. Or combat trick it with Act of Treason and red, which is actually really nice. We have good synergy with blue right now. I'm actually just going to take the Diamond Knight here. Is that a mistake? Picking up a Diamond Knight. No, I think it's fine. Second Dynamite, Bone to Ash is not bad. It's fairly predictable, but I don't mind it the times that I pick this card up. You definitely don't want a lot of them. Anticipate I really like in draft. Allows you to search through your deck, which is probably not the greatest quality, and kind of pick out the cards that you like more often than not. Also in the set, there's a lack of good 2-drops, which this can definitely fill the role of. But I don't think this beats out Diamond Knight, and I think this is actually a pretty decent consideration, but we're going to take the pick that is easier on our mana and has synergy with the Renowned Weaponsmith, so toss him in there. I like Piranha a lot. My game plan in this draft so far is to have a good control deck that lets me get late to capitalize off of Vilas. We need a few more control spells before we can make that happen. Right now this is a sideboard. I'm not really considering this as a main deck. Season of Growth is very strong. I think if I were considering green, which I can be in the first pack of cards, considering green. Just take the fish. Big fat fish protects me all day. The Frilled Serpent I actually don't value very highly. But considering the game plan of going for a much slower blue-black control, I think this actually fits very nicely. Just having a 3-drop can be good. 3/2s aren't very impressive, but they do die to Dragon... Is it Vial of Dragonfire? But they're not terrible. They're actually alright. Tectonic Rift is a pretty silly combat trick. I like that as 2 effects, but it's an effect I usually avoid in drafts. We'll take up the Mystic. Now we have 2 late game bombs to try to finish with. Go ahead and toss them in the sideboard. Now we're kind of getting to a best of the worst scenario. Yeah, Duress doesn't have that many targets, and it's a dead drop late in the game. I feel like the meta around M20 is very creature focused. A lot of beaters who are gonna finish you off. Unholy Indenture. Has synergy. That's Enchantment Aura. Man. I'm gonna pick up the single Duress. Target artifact or enchantment on 2. Splashing white. I mean, I'm never gonna play it. We're just gonna sideboard this card. Take the second Fortress Crab. Dead pick there. Pulled a Leyline Abundance. Not great in draft. Not great at all. Kind of an unfortunate blue pickup. We have some nice cards here, though. Target opponent planeswalker, equal number of creatures I control. This is like, I guess you want to play this in black-red aggro, and even then it's pretty unimpressive. Just paying for a tiny amount of damage and get a really weak creature for 5 mana. It is possible to capitalize on this, and especially in these colors. I don't have a lot of instant things to do right now, but it could be a payoff. So I do like that in my colors. Bone Splinters, I'm going to need some of these. I'm going to need something to do in black. It's a nice combat trick and funnel. The top 2 picks here are Bone Splinters and the Cutthroat. And gonna go ahead and pick up the Cutthroat. There is better removal. I don't have red in the deck, which is when this gets really strong. Or green when you have token generators. There are things I could pick up for sacrifice outlets later, but I don't think it's that likely that we see them. So we'll take that guy. Blood-Soaked Altar. Super tempting card, super hard to make work. And man, maybe you get 1 demon down with this card, and then you've already jumped through a lot of hoops just doing that much. And to get 2 demons, sack 2 creatures, discard 2 cards. It's just a lot to pay for. You need to have a lot of crap before this becomes good. But it's fun. It's a fun card. Who doesn't want to soak the altar? We got Chandra on 4. It's a pretty decent card. I think we haven't seen a lot more good black. We're kind of shying away from it. Unsummon is an excellent instant. There are definitely cases where you can save your own creatures or deny a combat trick. Evolving Wilds is really nice for land fixing. I actually rate that pretty highly in the set. And Elementals were clearly not in, but this is another high value card here. Is this going to be a Splinter? I think this is a main deckable tech card in the format. There are a lot of flyers and there are good artifacts you want to hit with this. Not bad. I feel like sticking with theme, I should take the altar. So I have a lot of blockers in this set. I have the crabs, I have the fish. Hopefully we'll get more fish to delay until I get to the late game. At which point those are good targets to sack for Bone Altar. Turning my dead draws into 5/5s. Okay, I see an avenue where this works. It's going to be an interesting archetype to try to force. I don't think this is one of the best decks to be building, but it is interesting. Oh wow, Executioner. Fantastic card. Just great. And I might end up value drafting this one. Somebody must not be in white to have passed this card. It's one of the best white drops you could possibly see. has so many bone splinters at this point. It's gotta be driving a few people insane. Especially that it's in my colors, but we're picking the Executioner. Gonna value draft this one and hope everything works out. Like Befuddle here. Just slows down the game. Can be used to get advantageous trades. It's a very cute card. Throw on 10-10 on something. One day I'll beat you. If you were ever going to put it in a deck, I can actually activate this on turn 6 if I put down the Weaponsmith. Oh god. I just want to build the jankest of janks here. Mind Rot, it can be a dead draw. I don't mind having one of these in the deck. Playing it not quite on curve when the opponent has this last couple tools in hand can actually turn the tide of a game. I don't recommend people pick this up highly, but it's won games. It's one of those high ceiling cards and low ceiling cards. Stone Golem on 5 looks pretty weak, but he actually has pretty good synergy in this set. It's just being a body, and a body that kills a lot of the common green threats, which is pretty nice. And I think that's definitely something that would be lacking if I try and go into blue-black, is decent bodies. He kind of fills that role. Oh, it's so tempting. So tempting to be bad. And we don't have Befuddle, do we? I'm absolutely contradicting myself with a lot of these picks. Alright, Uncaged Fury is an excellent combat trick. It's a really nice way to pull out surprise lethal or just take a positive trade. In the red stuff. Red is the color that actually complements this quite well. Ah, this is so funny. It's a do-nothing card, for sure. It's just a hilarious way to win. And you better be able to cast it for 6 and not 8 to make this good. Oh, great. We're going for the fun. We're playing for the fun here. What is this? Tap? Oh. It's pretty cool. Cryptic Caves. Yeah, I think that's pretty decent. It's dangerous in a deck that has a pretty greedy color curve, which I am. Like double black on 3 in a mostly blue deck. It's not that amazing. And this must be, what, our 4th or 5th Bone Splinters. If the game is trying to tell us something. I like Anticipate a lot. As I said, it's just a really nice 2-drop that has some thinning. We're doing okay on 2-drops at the moment. And we need kill spells. We gotta make it here, guys. So what I'm hoping happens in this scenario is we get one of our weenie flyers on the board. Or anyone. You're making a 10-10, it doesn't really matter. A flyer is nice because you're more likely to connect with face. Equip it for 6. using the activation of Renowned Weaponsmith and kill someone in the funniest way possible. But here it's going to be the Bone Splinter. 2 for 1 myself to kill something. Who doesn't want to do that, right? Who doesn't want to do that? Yeah. Is there anything in the deck that creates tokens in the set in blue-black? I don't think there is. Anticipate is an instant, which synergizes with the Cutthroat pretty well. Instant play in general is going to be really synergistic with what we're trying to pull off. There's some combo-oriented cards and strategies here, so I think we're going to anticipate. I really just don't like that card. I feel like this is my bias coming into play, where I'm not picking up Bone Splinters. It's probably better than I'm treating it. This is great. I love that card. This is one of the best 2-drops that you can actually hope for in this set, which is pretty sad. It's one of the reasons that I don't recommend people try to end up in black. It's one of the weaker colors in the set. We're going to take the Audacious Thief just in terms of power level. Pretty good. This is pretty solid, actually. Vengeful Warchief. It can grow a little bit. I don't think it's actually very far off in power level with Fathom Fleet Captain. But it's what we want to do. It's what we want to do. So we'll pick it up. What a noise. So we're pretty heavy in our deck right now. I think, yeah, you're not going to make the cut. You're just a little bit too expensive. And our early curve is looking pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Convolute, I really like it in the deck. Double Hammer is asking for pain. Vial of Dragonfire is actually going to work really well in this deck. Blade Brand is pretty sweet. We have ideal targets to cast it on with our Fortress Crabs. It's pretty much a 2-mana combat trick removal, which is pretty awesome. And this would be so cool if it works. This would be so cool. Alright, I think... Man. Three-mana counter spells are nice. Even though we have the card that pulls Vial out of the deck, it's like pretty mediocre in power level. It's probably less effective than swinging with a flyer with a Heartpiercer bow equipped. Mind Rot is, while not an amazing card, really synergistic with what our deck is trying to do, but not as much as a straight-up counter spell. So I actually like this a lot. It's not a strict color cost, and 4 mana. 4 mana is a lot to pay for a spell. This is a slightly worse mana leak. Okay. Oh man. We see another Bone Splitters. And I'm actually tempted to take the Stone Golem. It's the funny ass part of this. I'm gonna sideboard Duress. Am I though? Am I really going to sideboard a Duress? Like, clearly we see them often because the algorithm also doesn't rate this as a high pick card. This is something that's grown on me a lot. Befuddle is a nice combat trick. Great for taking some trades. But I think we can take the creature body. And now I will take, a Bone Splinter. And a sack outlet for it, I guess. Honestly, I kind of like the axe better, in the case that you can equip this on cheap flyers, which blue definitely has. They become way more valuable. And you can equip it for free if you get your weaponsmith out. We can take the 1/2 chump though. Another 5/4 body. We'll take the white combat trick just for the sideboard. Nothing we're ever going to play. Pick up another good 2-drop. And we're at 23 cards. So technically, this is a deck. Technically, this is a playable thing that we can be doing. The fairy is looking quite a bit worse, even though it's one of our few flyers. This is what we're missing in the deck. We need more siphons. We need more consistent ways to reach our endgame of Vilas, Blood-Soaked Altar, and equipping Colossal Hammer. We definitely, if we could find one more weaponsmith, that would be excellent. The Temple of Malady is a card I'm very tempted just to value draft for my collection. These I'm gonna want a playset of, especially when rotation hits and we no longer have check lands. Just I love the temples. I play the old printings of these quite often in my other decks, my paper decks, and they're awesome. They're just great. Who doesn't like to scry? But unfortunately, passing up on an Agonizing Siphon would make our deck much worse than it is. Whew. Yeah, we're doing it. We're value drafting. What do we got? So, got another of these golems, which I actually like quite a bit. Found another fish, which is just excellent, slowing the game down. This is fine. It's actually fine. It's a must effect, which is the awkward thing about it. Yarok being a must effect is just very awkward at times. I definitely have like walls and things I can bounce that aren't doing me a lot of good. But say I have a pumped Brineborn or a pumped Diamond Knight, then why on earth do I want to be bouncing those to my hand? And honestly, I want to gum up the ground. It's a weird second pick for Mill Piranhas, but it fits so nicely with what I'm trying to do with this deck. We got another Bone Splinters, maybe the 7th that we've seen in this game. And, okay, for everyone wondering why I'm not picking up the Splinters, just what do I want to sacrifice with this? Like an early game ball, maybe? It just, it's losing value is the problem. So, like, this is good post turn 7 or 5 if I manage to get the combo off. I'm not doing a lot on 4 right now. It just fits the curve very, very nicely. So I do think that the golem is better. Yeah, I think the golem's better. Sleep paralysis is excellent. It's exactly what we want to see right now. Audacious Thief might even be a bit stronger. But what am I really doing in this game by swinging in with a 2-2? What am I really doing with that? I don't have combat tricks, really. The triple bounce. Oh, okay. That's Drawn from Dreams is really awesome. I should just take that, I think. I didn't realize this was in the pack at first. But yeah, it's going to be a Drawn from Dreams. So besides that, I do think Sleep Paralysis is a good number 2. And then Thief. But this is pretty excellent for us. Now I probably will pick up a Vial and hopefully pull it out of my deck and not draw it. It's a bit early to be grabbing the Fairy Miscreants. You don't really have enough critical mass of them to be that playable. Soul Salvage I like a lot. It's great to have a 1 of. Oh, and a Dual Land just sitting right here. So Dual Land is going to be the pick, I think. Dual Land, Dragonfire. These are really close right now. We don't have a lot of answers for the early game weenies, but it doesn't matter because we're walling them out. We're just not going to let them get through. We don't care much about early game weenies. Flyers is kind of what we're worried about. The Vial would be there to kill Flyers, but I think the Dual Land is just too good right now. Far too good. Interesting. Burn Spell, Heartpiercer Bow, I like more than the Vilefire. Unsummon, I think, is a great combat trick. And if you can play this with other effects on the stack, you can very often cause effects to sizzle and get some very, very good outcomes from that. The Fenlurker is an interesting pick here. The effect of making your opponent discard is not that strong. This early in the game, they'll probably have something they don't mind getting rid of. It's more that it threatens a pump whenever you have mana open, which is something we will be floating in this game. I'm tempted to cut this guy. Yeah, I am very tempted to do that. He's a mana sink for later in the game. But we're not going to be clearing the board, so even with pumps, he probably won't get through. He just has the threat, right? 3 mana for 1 stat is very inefficient. We are looking for card advantage. And we're not really attacking. Not especially. I like this guy for his first ability. That's why I play him. The double black on 2. Or the unsummon. I'm going to take this. Another Anticipate, another Dual Land. shows up. That's pretty excellent. Thief is another very good pick. But I'm going to take the dual land. Manifold Key is not a card I like a lot, but it is actually pretty good with this archetype. It fits really well with what we're trying to do. Right now we're one card short of being at the standard 23 because of the land drop here. We're playing the stalemate game. That's what we want to be doing. This is excellent. Very happy to see that show up. So we'll take the Boreal Elemental. That is just perfect. And beautiful, beautiful pick. We're very short on 4-drops. This is one of my favorite cards to draft. The Vulture is also very good. Makes me wish we had a Soul Salvage to play it, because it can end up screwing some of your draws. I'm going to take the 4-drop over the Vulture Flyer, which honestly, it might be a better card, but I don't like the risk of milling our key cards out of our deck. Get an Aether Gust, which is pretty good. Well, it's an okay tech card. Red or green are pretty prominent. I don't think it would be awful to main deck this card. But when the opponent can put it on top of their deck, yeah, I'm not so happy about that. This is one of the least good hate cards that they printed, in my opinion. There are worse ones. There are Beetles and the Drake Flyer, but we'll take it. We won't main deck it. And a Prana is... Oh, Prana and Bone Splitter. That's really close. I would like to have another Prana for the deck. We have a pretty decent number of 2-drops right now. We're not actually as instant heavy as I would have liked to get the Cutthroat to trigger. Right now it's actually really unlikely that he ever goes off. We have Counterspell and Murder. Is that really it? Yeah. That's it. We have Counterspell and Murder. I might even take him out. I don't know. 2-1 with Flash. Or we just never let them attack with a 2-toughness creature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, that's enough. That's such a weird thing to cut, but I mean, not having triggers in the deck. We're at 25. Okay, we're gonna have to make some cuts to bring this down. Two-1 replaces himself. It's only going to be a successful attack. The opponent has nothing to block with. I do want to play a Heart Piercer Bow. Kind of got to the point where I like what we're doing. I'm seriously considering cutting the altar. Like, what do? You get to turn 6, you drop it. You probably weren't holding on to any lands because you're at 6 mana. You need to play those. So, are you even making a demon the turn you play it? I will have a target for creatures if I'm running piranhas and crabs. Their entire purpose is just to delay until the late game, and when I can get my big threats out. Bone Splinters is fine in the deck, because these are okay outlets to hit. I wouldn't mind having a Mind Rot, but there's nothing in here that I would really cut to put it in. This might be the cut. This is pretty hopeful. It's kind of a desperate card. This is the same cost as Broker to put it down. Even if we do hit it on turn 6 with a Weaponsmith. This is a pretty sad drop, but is it ever fun? That brings us down to 23. Heart Piercer Bow. Getting in the deck. We can probably cut one of our golems to have a little more flexible removal. It is nice to be able to fetch the deck with those. The Heart Piercer Bow I like more as a sideboard card. If you end up against those heavy 1/1 amassing flyer decks, it can be pretty nice to keep around. Another Anticipate would feel pretty good here. Alright, this is an interesting deck.